unusual to see some people come back. And one of my friends always has a joke is that they always come back. Right? Like there's always people, I believe, to your point in your life that they come back maybe as a test of the new Tonia, a test of the new terrain, right? Looking at it and you're saying, because you know why this ended and the reason why, and many of us won't go back to that, right? It's like when you're driving your car and you're on the road to peace and happiness. The only time you look back is to make sure that there isn't anyone chasing you or to check your mirrors, right? You don't look back for the luggage, you're focused on the journey ahead. But one thing I had to realize to your point was that maybe there's work that I had to be done because it was kind of arrogant, maybe in a way, to think that it's always that other person, whereas I'm the one picking them. I picked the last three people. Sure, they may look differently, there may be some differences around them, but there has to be a commonality because I'm the only person that's a constant. I'm not working. Is that a difficult conversation for people to have in your experiences? If so, why?
You're speaking to this responsibility that we all have to be in charge of our own experience. And that is hard for a lot of people because, when the buck stops with you, you don't have anyone to blame and you can't point your fingers outside and say, yeah, none of this has anything to do with me. It's all your fault. Wouldn't that be so nice just to defer all of that responsibility? And it is also the path to being imprisoned for life when you are willing to stand up and say, yeah, I'm going to own my part in this. Yeah, I chose those people and I stuck with those people even when I knew it wasn't great. There's freedom in the ability to say, yeah, this part of this is on me. Like, I need to own my part of this. Otherwise, it's just going to keep repeating over and over and over again. Those wounds will never heal if you try to blame anyone outside of yourself. And another thing that I talk about with my clients is this idea of cause and effect, right? There's always some sort of cause that creates an effect, and we have a choice. We may not be aware that we have a choice, but we can either be at cause, where we're taking charge and taking responsibility for our own actions, our own thoughts, our own belief systems, our own wounds, or we can be at effect of those things in other people. So we're at effect of other people's choices. We're at effect of other people's beliefs and behaviors. One is just being like thrown in jail and the key being thrown away, and the other is liberating, but it's harder. It's harder to stand up in your truth and be like, like I made choices I'm not proud of. And when we can do that, though, we learn and we heal and we grow.
It does seem to be easier to blame, like the victim mentality, just to say that it's always Tanya's fault,
Yeah.
right? Like I didn't get this job because of you. I'm stressed out because of you.
Yeah.
I can't make any other relationships work after you because of you.
That's right.
And it does feel like a prison. And I look back at my past relationships. If I wasn't aware enough to understand that I wanted to learn from it, and if I wasn't honest enough, I could easily blame the person that I dated way back in high school if I
Yeah.
really wanted to,
Yes.
right? Right? Like I could say that she warped me for all these 15 years later. And if I didn't come in contact with her, I would be the king of Canada or something, right? Why do you think it's easier for us to deflect the blame, especially when it's time after time after time?
Yeah. And I think the word that I used a minute ago is really helpful here. Where people are proud. People don't want to be wrong. People don't want to be at fault of something. And not to say that there's a fault, but people want to be proud of the decisions that they're making. And when they've made decisions that they're not proud of, it's a really hard thing to admit. One of the one of my teachers a few years ago said something that really helped me to put things in perspective that, emotions as we experience them as human beings, to have the fullest, richest experience, we need to experience all emotions, and all emotions serve a purpose. Anger, fear, sadness, they all are important when they're appropriate and warranted. And the positive ones, happiness, connection, love, joy, satisfaction, that's all important too. And the landscape of all of these different emotions makes our human experience so rich. But it's not like every day you're going to go through every moment and be 100% happy all the time. That isn't necessarily a goal to strive for. But something that you can strive for is going to bed every night and looking back on your day and saying, did I behave in a way that I'm proud of today? Did I behave in a way that I would be proud to role model for my kids, for the generation after us? Am I proud of the decisions I made today? And when we look at our history and we have decisions that we made that don't help us feel that way, and we probably made them because of our old pain story that was driving those decisions on autopilot unconsciously, it's just easier to point a finger and be like, she made me do it. He made me feel that way. I don't have anything to do with this. But it's harder to say, you know what, I was hurt, and so I behaved like I was hurt. But when we can do that, it frees us up for the most preciously deep and intimate relationships that we can imagine, or not even imagine at this point.